Hi everyone, it's Sue and welcome to the last episode of our series in the session on Bible crafts. Now, you can make a lot of art with a lot of different art supplies, can't you? You can use pencils, textures, crayons, watercolours, oils and oil paints. You can create collages with cutouts and glue and glitter. You can use brushes and sponges, or you can just throw a whole lot of paint onto a canvas. There aren't any rules to say what art is, and it's all up to the artist and their imagination. All of the art I just mentioned, though, takes one other art supply to make it happen, and it's paper. You can't draw, collage, paint or colour without having something to draw, collage, paint or colour on. If you have paper, you're good to go. You just need one piece of paper and whatever supplies, and you can go to town and create some great stuff. But what happens if you don't have those other art supplies? What happens if you haven't got the textures, the crayons, the pencils, the watercolours, the oils and the paints? Well, what happens if all you've got is the paper? You can still make art, guys. That piece of paper, blank though it might be, can be folded into anything you have the imagination to create. I'm sure all of you already know how to make a paper plane, but do you know how to make animals and flowers out of paper? The Japanese art of paper folding is called origami, and if you take the time to learn how to do origami, you can make some amazing things with just a simple piece of paper. Art doesn't require expensive brushes or fancy oils. It doesn't have to be expensive. Sometimes something as simple as one sheet of paper can become an amazing artwork. And that's the final message I want you to get from this series. In the hands of a master, the simplest things can become great. And that's the message in today's Bible story too. Saul was the king of Israel. He was brave and strong, and he was surrounded by some of the fiercest, strongest, bravest men in the whole of Israel. The army of Israel was a mighty force to be reckoned with, and it had toppled kings and kingdoms in past years. Yet not one of Saul's army were brave enough to take on and face Goliath. Goliath was a giant, a monster of a man with giant-sized armour and weaponry. He was big enough, fast enough and fearsome enough to scare every single one of Saul's army back into their tents. But what happened when that mighty giant stepped onto the battlefield against one small boy? I think you already know. That giant Goliath fell. He crumpled to the ground with one shot from David's slingshot. David had the faith to fight the giant, and so God used David to kill him. God is the master artist here. He's the master creator of our world and our universe. God wants us to place our lives in his hands, and when we do, he'll do great things. If you remember back in week 1, we talked about what a great artist our God is. God created all living things on this earth. He created the sun, the moon and the stars. He created every single one of us, and he knows us better than we know ourselves. And God sees the potential in every single one of us, even if we don't see it. God gave us the ability to choose whether we'll trust in him with our lives. That's like an artist asking a piece of paper, what do you want to become today? God won't come into your life unless he's invited, but when he does, he begins to do some great things, better things than we could ever imagine for ourselves. God gave us the Bible to show us exactly what he can do when we trust him. He gives us stories of men like Daniel, who survived in a den full of lions. He gives us stories of the disciples who learned how to trust in Jesus and have faith in him. He gives us stories of small boys like David, who took on a mighty giant and won. Now I know you kids are thinking, but we're kids, we can't do anything. But even kids can do great things. Kids can share Jesus with their friends and even with the adults in your lives. They can go from they can give from their hearts to those who need it the most. And they can change their neighbourhoods, their world, their school. You need to trust God because God can use you right now to do big things for him. Okay, that's all I'm going to say this week. I hope you come over to the webpage and have a look at the rest of our lesson and read the Bible story about David and Goliath with us. and have a go at some of the origami YouTube video clips that we'll be showing as well. So I hope you enjoy this lesson, and we'll see you back here in a couple of weeks after holidays. Bye guys.